I'm live. All right. So this class, I'm going to be all over the place because that's just how I work. I chase a lot of butterflies. The stuff that I know really well. However, being I'm a storyteller. I use analogies. I try to give you as much supplemental information as you can, but you have to help me help you in terms of your specific learning style and what you need. I have some students that are going to be coming to help, that are going to be a nice supplement to kind of help study, do lead study groups and that kind of stuff. But this is kind of a two-way street. I don't know if you don't know anything or you're kind of confused on something. So I always want there to be a welcome dialogue back and forth with us, okay? So I thought I'd start off by kind of, before we get into the syllabus and the class, a little bit about myself, because I want y'all to know a little bit about me, my personality. Welcome, come on in, okay? So my name's Dr. Brian Campbell. In class, look, outside of class, you see me at Walmart, Target, Mr. Fine. In class, we try to adhere to the doctor prefix because my level of knowledge is the most, like when you go to a hospital and you say, is there a doctor in the house? All that means is someone who has the level of knowledge that is needed in a most given area. That's where it started off with. PhDs, Doctor of Philosophy. So in the area of biomechanics, human movement, I have the top degree there is, okay? So the reason I'm telling you that is just because they didn't just hire someone from Anytime Fitness to just come teach this class. So I'm a member of Anytime Fitness, so it's all good. So that's kind of in class setting, reference me as such. All right. This is me at Saints training camp, because I'm a rebel. So I wanted to let y'all know, I got a little bit of rebel in me, about 7% rebel when I did my 23andMe. It came back about 7%. Guys, this was me when I first started here in 06, right out of college, man. My first job was right back here at USL. This is me and my lovely wife, Lucy. She's from Mo, Louisiana. Vermilion Parish people may know where Mo is. This was me way back in the day playing. We had so few people in school. I was the only player on our team. We just did one-on-one, joke. I'm showing you this is because I love analogies. So your interest area, sometimes when we're talking about topics, if I know your interest area, I could say, oh, think of it like this from a basketball perspective, or think at it from a football perspective. So although I wasn't great in any one thing, being at a small school allowed me to play a lot of things. So I have a lot of reference to sports movement that you may understand if I apply it to your area. There's me and Henry Winkler, the Coach Klein, Mr. Coach Klein. He was really nice. There's my sister. She taught me how to dance at Auburn when I was working on my doctorate. I actually taught Cajun Zydeco two-step as an activity class in Auburn. I love Disney World. I try to go at the end of every semester. I am from Delcombe, Louisiana. Huge town of a few people. There's me. Most of you may not know who this is, but Conway Twitty. I got to meet him about 3 months before he passed away. When I was a kid, all I wanted to do is go to sports games, meet my heroes, get autographs. I was a total fanboy. And my mom and dad supported it. There's me and Elvis Stitch. There's me and Stan Lee. Any Marvel fans out there? This was the year he passed away. I wanted him to do the UL symbol because it's kind of like Spider-Man. But with his arthritis, he's like, my arthritis is really hurt. And I was like, dude, you do you, Stan Lee. It's all good. There's me as a kid stalking Dwight Gooden, baseball legend. I do a lot of fundraisers. I MC events and call auctions. This is one for St. Jude's Dream Home, just being a couillon. I did my master's degree at Southern Mississippi. I worked with I was an athletic trainer by trade. That's what I did in undergrad. But I worked with women's softball and women's volleyball when I was at Southern Miss. She was from Kaplan. She's a physical therapist now. There's me and Chuck flippin' Norris, man. Yep. So Chuck says hi. There's me and my dad. My dad's my best friend. He was the best man in my wedding, and that's us playing a little Cajun music at a fundraiser. There's just me being silly. at Disney World. Anybody ever heard of the David Trosclair Memorial Scholarship in kinesiology? Yeah. So David was my student. I'm the only faculty member left that taught and knew David. And so this is David's mom, Miss Carol, and we raise money every year for his scholarship here in kinesiology through the KPA, Kinesiology Professional Association. Bad memories. That was my dissertation. Wrist extensor counter moment force effects on muscle activity for the ECR with gripping implications for lateral upper condylasia. I don't know what it means either. Dude, that was me when I was your age. That was me in the yearbook. I sat right there in that corner seat in this class. And growing up, I didn't realize I had dyslexia until my sons got diagnosed. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, that was me, that was me, that was me. I mean, I didn't finish in the top 10 of my class in Delta. Like that should say I wasn't a very good student. But then when I realized I had dyslexia, a lot of things started making sense. C's, if I got a B, I was pumped until I took anatomical kinesiology, human movement stuff. That's what my brain was designed for, and I never knew it. So this was the first class I ever made an A in. And my friends, my buddies were like, dude, how are you doing? You got to be cheating, Cameron. You don't make good grades. Like I made like hundreds. I was like, but yeah, this was when I took this class right here. There's me and my boys. Trayson, the tall one, he's about 6'3" now. He takes after his mom's side of the family. His birthday is today. He turned 17 years old. And that's my dad and my youngest son, Brian. There is my mentor. She is my major professor at Auburn University. She is the godmother of my firstborn, Dr. Wendy Weimer. She taught me a lot, not only about biomechanics and human movement, but she was a high school physics teacher for 5 years. So she really taught me how to communicate things and try to use teaching skills to help be a better teacher. She is amazing. One of the reasons I want to talk about these people is we are a tree, like we're a lineage. Like the things I'm going to teach you and the styles that I'm going to teach you are passed down from people who taught me the same thing. And it's kind of cool that you guys are going to be part of this tree of knowledge. There's me with my mom and dad. Love basketball. Basketball was really my sport, basketball and baseball. And this is what interests me, is human movement. Specifically things that happen so fast that our eyes can't process it. That's why magicians have right sleight of hand, because sometimes, a lot of times, movement is faster than what our eyes can process. And we fill in the space with what we think, but really it's not. So when pitchers, one of the things that make college, high school, but specifically college and pros so effective is they have tremendous external rotation of their shoulder. Think of it as like bringing a catapult back. The average person can't do that. In fact, the average person looks at that and says, "Ow, that looks like it hurts." That's what makes him special. We see Shaquille O'Neal and we see a 7'1" giant man and say that person could play basketball. You can't see how far someone can bring their catapult back. They're not walking around the mall like this, right? And when it happens so fast that our eyes can't process. It's just a blur. So if you ever watch baseball, you see the ball, you see the ball, you see the ball, you see the ball, and then all of a sudden when they start rotating, it's like a blur. We can't see these gifts. And that's what interests me. How can I teach you to understand human movement having the tools of our eyes? I'm going to teach you these things. I'm going to teach you tools on how to see position and movement, because my athletic trainers, you're going to be out there in the real world. You won't have slow-mo cameras. You're going to have your eyes. Therapists, you're going to have your eyes. Personal trainers, you're going to have your eyes. This is our equipment. All the fancy, expensive equipment, this is our equipment. This is our computers. This is our processors. So I'm going to hopefully give you your money's worth in this tuition to show you how to use this mind to help process human movement and be more efficient at it. Okay? Love this kind of stuff. Dr. George. So when I was in undergrad and sat right there, this was the guy that taught me my first ever A in college. Dr. Jerry George. He is in the U.S. Gymnastics Hall of Fame, tremendous teacher. And when I graduated from Auburn, I sent him an email and I said, "Dr. George, I know you don't know who I am, but you had a big impact on my life. And I'm graduating from Auburn in biomechanics, and I just want to say thank you." And he said, next time you're in town, let's have lunch. Yes, sir. We had lunch. He says, I was thinking about retiring. He's like, I think I'm going to do that. Why don't you apply? Take my spot. So here's the point. One of the things I'm going to teach you is not just about biomechanics, it's about life. Life sometimes isn't what you know, and it's not who you know. Guys, I know Michael Jordan, but that's not going to give me an autograph. It's who knows you. Who knows you? And if they know you, then all of a sudden that can open up some doors, okay? So that's why this morning I was, where are you from? Where are you from? Just trying to show that conversation can open up some doors eventually, whether that's an internship, a job. But if I didn't just email Dr. George, and I didn't want anything, I didn't need anything. I just wanted him to know that I was thankful for his teachings and his mentorship. And it opened up a door here. Come on in. Absolutely. Come on in. All good. Welcome. All right. Dr. Madsen. I wish you could be a little live. Dr. Nels Madsen taught me biomechanics at Auburn. This dude, an incredible person, but his biomechanical motion capture technology won him an Academy Award for Lord of the Rings, like Gollum and those kind of things, Avatar. That's this guy. His Academy Award was presented by Jennifer Garner, the actress. In addition, it's hard to see it on this screen. He's about 6'2". He rode a bicycle to class every day, and he had like a basket in it, like Wizard of Oz kind of stuff, right? But an absolute beast on the basketball court. Did you know? Hey, Brian, we have a faculty, we usually play at lunchtime, maybe you should come by and play a little basketball. And I'm like, dude, bro, really? I'm in my 20s, and they're like, faculty member. I'm like, all right, Dr. Madsen, I'll come by one day. Madsen posts me up, gets the ball, elbows me to the throat, drop step, and lays it up, and starts like running like this. Like, good try, Brian. I'm like, what just happened? And so the lesson that I took from that day is don't judge, right? Like, don't judge, man. You just never know. Don't judge that book by its cover. This is actually dressed up for me. Most of the time, I'm going to come in shorts. I'll wear my shirts inside out to reduce friction on my Versa. But I do that so that I can move and demonstrate. When I first got here, I'd wear slacks and stuff, and after I ripped 2 pairs of pants, I was like, I can't afford to keep buying pants. So I'm going to dress to move. And hopefully you guys are free to move with me as we go over some stuff. This is my pops. That is my dad back in the day. Fun story about my dad. He doesn't look like it now. We all age. But in high school, we were at a Kaplan tournament, basketball, and this man stops me. I was a senior, right? My ego was inflated. This man stops me and said, "Hey, are you the Campbell boy?" I was like, "Yes, sir, I am." He's like, "Your dad, that's Pat Campbell?" I said, "Yes, sir, he is." He's like, "You run track?" I said, "Yes, sir, I do." He said, "You run the 100?" I was like, "Yes, sir, I do." Well, I was really starting to think this. He looked at me up and down and said, "Son, you'll never be as fast as your dad." He just walked away. And I was like, that was awesome. So that's my pop. And that was smoking like 6 packs of cigarettes and drinking like 12 beers a day, and no, back in the day. And there's me back when I was running track. Dude, look at that external rotation of that shoulder. Like, that's cool. That's super cool. Try it. Let's do something. Stand up, or not stand up. Just sit up straight. Try not to lean your trunk. That's one of the things I'm going to teach you is think about like when people cheat, right? They're doing curls and they're do this. I'm going to teach you illusions of motion. So what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to lean back because that's going to cheat bringing your hand back. I just want you to sit upright and then try to rotate your shoulder and bring your catapult as far back as you can. Try not to cheat. And you see his trunk, like he's actually leaning forward. And he got his forearm. And of course, he had a whip action to it, right? But the point is like this is where the magic happens a lot of times, but we can't see it because it happens too fast. Okay? We can't see it because it happens too fast. Kent to Colby. Look at that. So his forearm is parallel, but he's leaning forward. So that's like if we did this experiment. Leaning forward, now I'll bring your arm back all the way here. It's crazy, in a good way. Like if I call you a freak, that is the best compliment that I could possibly give you. Because I mean a biomechanical freak, like an anomaly, like you're super mechanically inclined to do cool mechanical things. All right, this is the last slide for about me. This is my office, and I love pop culture. So I put, do not come to my office looking for special treatment. Students showing up to my office looking for special treatment. And Grover right there. I just love that meme. All right, let's get to the syllabus. So this is posted on the old Moodler. And let's get to the so what. So this class is hybrid, yes. However, I would strongly encourage you guys to come to class. In other words, there's going to be no, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm here to work. I get paid to work. I'm a teacher. I take pride in being a teacher. I have units up, but I'm not going to be reading from no PowerPoints. I'm going to be using analogies, and I'm going to be telling stories. And I can see a lot of times from your feedback if it's hitting or not, or if I need to make an adjustment. Oh, think of it like this. Or in real time, you can ask questions. I don't quite understand what you mean here, okay? However, every class is going to be streamed on my YouTube channel, and that is posted on Moodle as well. Guys, if you sit, I don't want anyone to fall behind. And I know that sometimes we won't be able to be here every class. Sometimes our athletes travel. Sometimes you may have to travel. Sometimes you may have an interview. Guys, you just need to sit. And I don't want you to fall behind. It's hard for me, especially juggling multiple classes. If you say, what did we do on Wednesday? I'm going to be like, hey, I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. But you have access to what we did on Wednesday. Make sense? Okay? Another thing is, I am a stickler for being on time. Hardcore. 7:30, I get paid to do a job. And I want to start that job and not be interrupted. Okay? This, hopefully, past students have said that this has helped them. Guys, think about if you had an interview for grad school or interview, you wouldn't want to be late. You would make sure you were here on time. That's all I'm asking you to do, is get in the habit. It's a developed skill of being on time. If you're 10 minutes early, oh no, you can prep for class. If you're a few minutes early, great, we can work some practice questions. Okay? But at 7:30, that door's going to close and we're going to get to work. If you're late, no problem. Watch the live stream on your device outside or in the computer lab or at home. But the way my brain works, once I start rolling, an interruption just crashes my head and I got to start all over. It's just hard for me. That's just the way you're a specific learner, I'm a specific teacher. Okay? So you don't miss anything. Just watch it on your computer, watch it on your phone, go to the computer lab. Heck, when class is over, come in with questions. But at 7:30, it's time to work. Cool? Understand? I have my office hours posted. There's my, any athletic training majors in here? What about physical therapists? Anybody want to be a physical therapist? Awesome. Occupational therapy, physician assistant, good. Prosthetics and orthotics, coaching. We've got some coaches out there, fitness professionals. Guys, human movement is for all of that stuff. This is the ultimate class in kinesiology because this is what kinesiology means, human movement study. Okay? And I'm telling you, human movement is a lot more complicated than this. Okay? I call that robot world. All right, support materials. Pros and cons. Pros, I'm not making you buy a $300 book. Cons, some people like having a $300 book. I don't judge. This book, for example, was written by my major professor, Dr. Wyman, and 2 associates. Most textbook companies don't write a book for a specific class. Guys, we got 3 months. What they wanted is they want to have several different kind of classes that say, hey, you could use our book for that class, and you could use this book for this class, and you could use that book for that class. It's a business. You ever bought an expensive book and during the class you only use like that much of it? Okay. So if you want to get a textbook, that's fine. There's going to be some references, but I am just going to utilize the tools that we're going to need to understand human movement and how muscles influence motion. So all of the materials that we're actually going to be using in class is going to be posted on Unit 1 is already posted. In addition, last semester, one of my students that excelled in the class took notes on her laptop. I asked her to send me those notes, and I posted that at the end of Unit 1. Now, I said, guys, don't use her notes as your end-all, be-all. It's just a supplement, right? It's just a supplement, an example, a template, but it's just more resources. I have last semester's lectures posted, but again, use that as a supplement. Because sometimes I might use an analogy, and for another class, I might use a different analogy. The content's the same, but maybe the analogies might be a little different. That's like saying, every class, I know I'm going to get to Alexandria, I just don't know if I'm going to take the interstate or the back roads. You know, I might want to get at least high along the way. Okay? So those are there as extra help on the YouTube channel. Let's see, grading scale, very straightforward. I will say this, guys. It is not hard to make a C in here, but I'm going to protect my A's and I'm going to protect my B's. So in other words, you made an A in this class, you earned it. You make a B in this class, you earned it. C's, I'm a little bit more flexible. But you're going to earn your A's and we're going to earn our B's. And I think that way I can have a similar philosophy for all different learning styles. Okay? If you make an A in my class, that should mean something. But this is important. Let's do it on the field. Let's do it in the classroom. Let's do it on the exams, okay? That's where we get our work done. That's where the game happens. All right, guys. This semester was crazy with the early Mardi Gras and early Easter. So it was really hard to kind of displace the exams, but I do have tentative dates for those of you that like keeping schedules. Our exams are always on Wednesdays, hump day. Why? Who wants to have an exam on Monday? And who wants to have an exam on Friday? Most of the time people leaving, going on travel for stuff. Wednesday to me is the absolute best. Okay? So all of our exams on Wednesdays except your final. I got no control over that. I think it's scheduled for Monday, but I already looked it up. Okay? There's no projects, there's no fluff, it's exams. It's content, it's knowledge, okay? There's the description. Guys, be familiar with the missed exam policy. Even though at 7:30 I lock the doors for class, I'm gonna leave the door open for an exam. In other words, if you're late for an exam, come. You could start late. If you miss it and I don't hear from you, I can only assume you overslept. Guys, if you're sick, you know you're sick. If you're sick, you know what? You should. If you're sick, you still should be up and sick. Okay? So just let me know. If you communicate with me a reason, I'll count that as an excuse because you were responsible. I don't even care if I got E&A. I don't care. You communicated with me before 7:30. We're cool. It's if I don't hear from you after, that's when we have a problem. So just communicate. Just let me know. And we'll make it work. So all that stuff is on there. Set 2 alarms. I've been there. All right, here's some notes that I think can kind of help you, okay? Again, just don't ask. If you do email me asking for stuff, I'm just going to simply and humbly reply, just please see the syllabus. Or if you ask me a question that's on the syllabus, don't take it personally. I'm just letting you know that it's there. That doesn't mean sometimes you may ask a question that's not on the syllabus. That's awesome. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going to go update, okay? But if you ask me like, hey, when is our final? I might just say, hey, go check out the syllabus and let me know if you find it. Exams will be face-to-face, graduation day. Guys, when we review tests, I want to give the priority to, and it makes sense, like because you can come review a test with me, I want to give priority to people that only missed 1 or 2 questions, because it's going to take 2 seconds to get a minute out, okay? So if you missed, if you're kind of struggled with a lot, let's let those people go first, get them out of the way so we can spend more time going over these tests. I think that kind of makes sense, right? Guys, this is a class, and I mean this in a good way. You got to stay up with the material. Don't wait to cram. Don't wait to, oh, we got a test next week. Let me start looking at it. The best way is to chop it up in little bites. Eat little bites of the apple, as my baby professor used to say, because everything builds upon itself. How many of you have ever had a class where, like, you do the first test and then the next unit is nothing of like, not this. This builds upon itself. Okay? Think of it like this. Whatever your sport or activity or interest, there are certain rules of the game. Like if I want to play basketball, I got to learn the rules. But to play basketball, you also have to play. Like that's how you learn. Like so many times, think of when we were just learning to play whatever sport. Like when you would make a mistake, like dribbling and out of bounds. Remember this? I was in pity ball. The out of bounds line is here, and I'm like dribbling like this. Right? Oh, I didn't realize you couldn't go out. Like just little things like that, where you make mistakes in class. Because I'm going to do a lot of quizzes. I'm going to do a lot of practice. You make mistakes in class because I need to teach you the rules of human movement. There's a lot of illusions. I teach you the rules, but then we got to play. We got to play so that we can learn by playing the sport. I introduce you to the rules, but we have to develop those rules. And we have to master those rules to really say we can play humans. Okay? So stay up with it. So in other words, imagine waiting and then you're trying to compress all the rules and make up hours and hours of play to be able to apply those rules. It's tough if you wait. Okay? This is Unit 1. There is some students are supposed to be doing some stuff with Instagram. Let me go back to the syllabus though, because I think my YouTube channel is on the syllabus. Right there. So the YouTube channel, Brian Campbell, PhD, and that's where every class. So because I have so many sections, I will not literally post every link for every class, because with my dyslexia, I'm going to post the 415, the 310, but it's there. You just got to go to my YouTube channel, and on every stream, it's going to have the date, it's going to have the unit. It's super easy to find, okay? But it's less chance that I make a mistake if I just tell you where to find it, and then you can go find it, okay? That make sense? Awesome. Okay, let's go back to trying to help you guys. All right, this is not from me. This is from previous students that thought these are some helpful kind of prep stuff, right? We observe movement every single day. The main thing, guys, is verbiage. This is the one area of study. There's probably others, but I'm biased, so I'm going to say it's the only one. You can't practice law without a law degree. You can't practice medicine without a medical degree or a nurse, but you can practice human movement. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but think about it. When we were kids, who were our first coaches? Our parents, because they loved us. But did they really know about transverse pelvic girdle rotation? Or they're using verbiage as like, rotate your wrist. Guys, this isn't your wrist. They don't know that. That's okay. This is your radiometry. But that verbiage gets stuck in our mind. How many of you have ever heard the term when we were kids? Flex your muscles. Flex your muscles. Joints flex, muscles contract. Now, the muscles can be responsible for the motion, but you see how things just kind of play fast and loose, right? You think about it. On TV all the time, the announcers, the speed and the acceleration and the power and the force, they just use in terms that they don't even know what they mean, and I'm not saying they shouldn't, but that's part of our problem. We need to be on the same, we need to have rules. Just like if we're going to play basketball intercollegiately, there are rules. If we're going to play internationally, there are rules. So that's so important for us to establish verbiage rules so that we're not misunderstanding each other when we're communicating joint position or joint motion. Right? The most important thing. That being said, some of the problems, some of the hurdles we have to address. Some of you have been practicing human movement for years and years and years and years, and that's okay. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Some of you are personal trainers. Some of you are already certified personal trainers. But let me ask you this. How many different ways can you become certified as a personal trainer? A lot. There's only one way to be a lawyer. There's only one way to be a medical doctor. But you can get certified to be a personal trainer for Kellogg's cornflakes, I bet you. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. What I am saying is it makes sense why this certification might use different verbiage. And this certification might play fast and loose. And this certification may be more stringent. And this may be because it's not universally organized and represented by one organization. Okay? So all I'm trying to say is whatever your area of interest, I promise you, I'm going to make you better at it by streamlining the verbiage, being all on the same page, by helping you see illusions. So many illusions in motion. Let me give you an example. How many of you have ever heard, maybe in a beginner KNES class or an online certification, hip extension is when the leg goes back. Like they'll use terms like that. Right? Leg go back, arm go up like caveman, like whoop, whoop. Leg go back. No. And I'm going to teach you why. Because I can be in a cast. Think about it. I'm in a cast. I can't move my hip if I try. But I can pivot on my right hip and my leg goes back. Think about that. I can have my arm out to my side and bend my trunk and my arm goes up. But that doesn't mean I move my shoulder. Just my arm went up. So if all you've ever done is learn motions based off of a global reference, up, down, front, back, you may have a problem. That's what I'm here to try to help you with. Think of it like this. Who's ever heard of abduction is when your arm moves away from the midline? Who's heard that? What happens if you keep rotating the same way? Does it come back? But that's still the same motion. Think of a clock. Clockwise, clockwise, clockwise. I don't say counterclockwise when it gets past a clock. It's the same rotation. So it has nothing to do with going away. It has everything to do with the direction of spin. But people say these things because it's easy. But human movement is not easy. It can be easy if we play by the same rules, but that's why I'm here. I'm like your kinesiology therapist who's going to help to reprogram your head to see joint positions and motion the way they really are, not necessarily the way they look. Sarah, just in time. I was just on trying to scare them. We were talking about illusions and how important the illusions are. So while I pull this back up, guys, this is Sarah. Sarah is going to be my teaching assistant this semester. We're on this part about the flexion muscles and stuff.
Gotcha.
I'm going to let Sarah talk a little bit from a student's perspective. She just took this class in the fall, and so I think she's going to have some helpful hints. You know what I like about having students like Sarah, and there's going to be others that come and help too, is, you know, here I am, I can sit on my hall horse and say, you need to do this, and they're like, who are you, dude? You old. You probably talk from a chalkboard. But to have some backup from a peer, someone who's just done it, and they can legitimize some of the things I'm trying to tell you, I think is important. Okay? So Sarah, a little bit about maybe the class in general, your expectation coming in and what maybe you kind of learned throughout the semester.
I'm sure y'all just went over the commandments and the amendments. A big one's don't assume. So if you came in with background knowledge or you know a lot about working out, there's a lot that Dr. Campbell is going to kind of set straight. And I think that the biggest thing was being a perceptive student, like understanding if he's saying this, okay, I'm gonna take that to heart. Like he's not just saying things to say things, right? Like, go ahead and if he says we do this, then we do that, right? Like, and he's always gonna have an example or an analogy, big analogy guy. So like he's always gonna have a reason behind why we do things. So if you say, flex your muscles, he might stop you in that moment and be like, here's why we don't flex our muscles, and here's why they cannot flex. It's why we actually call it flexing our joints or contracting our muscles. So there's always going to be an example or a reason behind things. Just be receptive to the answer and go ahead. And another thing is like, if we spend 5 days talking about flexion, don't ask them on the 6th day about flexion, because it shows that you weren't listening, and that's frustrating. As somebody that was explaining, went out of their way to explain something. So just be an active listener. I think that's the main thing. But if he says something, don't be so focused on writing the notes that are already in the textbook, right? Like go ahead and write the things that are the spoken content. Those are the things that I probably.
How did you study? How did you study for, and did it evolve?
It did evolve. I think the 3rd and 4th test, I didn't even have to study that hard because I got into the routine of just listening in class. And the biggest thing for me was we don't have cell phones, right? Like we can take pictures of his examples and stuff. And even like I have an iPad, so I'd be writing on the examples. But even if you don't have an iPad, just take a picture and be like, okay, in your notes, picture 1, this is happening. And then he explained this. That's probably the best like study source. I don't know. Did you already go over how?
No, I didn't. That's a really great reference. And let's say you have your cell phones or tablets out, and I do an analogy, and you want to get a better view of it. Just hey, and I'll do it in real time. That's a really great point.
And angles are really important, so that's a good thing. So if he does something to the side, it might look different than in the front, and he'll explain that as well. Yeah. And did you already kind of go over how the tests look?
No.
Tests are pictures. So like we're doing pictures in class, we're doing examples in class. So like go ahead and get into the groove of this isn't a paper, just words all over a test. Like you're going to be looking at from A to B what's going on. So that's why pictures are probably going to be your best friend. Take them whenever he has an example up.
Guys, human movement, like what we see in real time video, is actually a flip book of pictures. Like what we see in real time is our brain just taking a flip book of static pictures. So on the test, all we're going to use is like, hey, I started here and I ended here. It's as simple as saying I started in Lafayette and I ended in Abbeville. Well, I had to travel south. I started here and I ended here. Well, this is anatomical. This is flexed. I had to have flexion to get there because unless I'm possessed by Satan, my elbow can't rotate the other way, right? Okay, no offense if that's your guy. I'm just messing with you, okay? Look at the tips from students. Anything stand out for verbiage? Wacky guys, I'm telling you.
Position and motion, real big on the test. That was something that I learned after the first test. Is like, you're so sure that we're talking about motion, but then there was only one picture. So if he only gives you one picture, then just ask for position. And that's kind of a hit that we'll kind of get into later. But if he gives you 2 pictures, it's okay to assume the motion. Like it's not okay to just assume the motion if you get 1 picture.
Great example. Lafayette is home. Not to all of us, but this school, right? If I give you a picture of Cecilia and I say, where are you going? Well, I don't know. I could be going east on I-10 or west on I-10. If I just give you a picture, a static picture, all I know is that I'm east of Lafayette, east of home. Your position is where you're at. Your motion is where you're going. So you could be east of Lafayette, but be traveling west, or you could be east of Lafayette traveling east. That's all we're trying to say. Many times people assume motion with just position. Like, all right, what's my position? And someone's like, flexion. Not moving at all. What if it's
Important. You learn from each other. Somebody's analogy might help you. Maybe Dr. Campbell online, like they don't help you, but maybe somebody picks something up. You want to hear their perspective, and you want to hear their, how they understand things, and it might help you. So definitely exchange phone numbers or get a group we go in so you can like meet each other.
See, we didn't have groups. We didn't have that back in my day. But it's so important. I know sometimes people are lone studies. I get it. But think of it as an insurance policy. Like you may have a question, you may need notes, you just need something. So to me, it's always good to just have that insurance policy of having contacts in case you need.
Or maybe you don't like to take pictures, but your best friend does. So she has all your study material, you know, like, or they got a different angle and you want to use that because that's how your test is going to be.
Or imagine studying the wrong thing because you just don't know because you don't have someone there to check you when you're practicing stuff. Because I think that happens too, where if you don't have somebody, whoa, I don't think that's quite right. I think you said this. If you're on by yourself, you're always going to agree with yourself. Right? You got to have somebody to check it. When I'm shooting basketball by myself, I'm undefeated. But I have to play with someone else to be able to check me so that I can get better. Does that make sense as an analogy?
The last one's kind of goofy, like thinking of it, but you actually will get up and do it because, again, with studying, if we're talking about flexion, then you're going to be doing flexion probably to understand how that feels and looks. So, like on the test, if there's a flex position, maybe you want to look at it, you know, or maybe you want to stand up and do a little bit of internal, external rotation. You want to do it to make sure like, you really understand what the question's asking.
Absolutely. And we will try to move a lot in here just so that you can feel and see what we're talking about. But on the test, like use strategy. Like if you know you're going to move and you don't feel comfortable being in the middle, sit in the corner. You know, on the test day, just sit somewhere where you do feel comfortable getting up and moving. Right?
Scratch paper is a huge one too. I always use scratch paper. One of the helpful things that the TA in the last semester helped me out. She was like, don't even look at the answer choices. Just look at the question and write down what you think is the answer. Because with our fast and loose terminology, you're going to see flexion or flexed or, you know, all these different options and you're going to get confused. So if you just look at it and trust your gut, you're probably going to be right.
Absolutely.
Or not right, but like most likely.
What Sarah's saying is a very important point. If I asked you what's 7 minus 3, you don't need answer choices to know the answer, right? It's the same thing for these questions. All of the questions could be answered by fill in the blanks. So the answer choices are just there for me to help grade it faster. And I don't have to read, scratch, handwork, but you don't have to have answers to answer these questions. So some strategies are just answer it and then see which answer matches what you know is the answer. Because sometimes those answers sound a lot alike, right? So if you answer it kind of like a fill in the blank, then you can go and see which answer confirms what you should know. Okay?
Also spelling, like words look similar. Ab and adduction.
Yeah.
That's a difference of one letter. So sometimes like I know on test 2, whenever we were talking about ab and adduction, I put ab whenever I meant to put ad. And I didn't get the grade I wanted because I missed that one.
Yeah. So I'll do silly things like ab, because those words sound so close together. All right, Sarah is going to be available. So after every class, I actually have to end the stream and then prep the next stream. So Sarah is going to come a few minutes early to kind of answer some immediate questions. And then once I prep the next class, then obviously I'll be available to help clarify or answer some questions from you guys, okay? Are there any questions from you guys? This is very doable. Don't let anything anybody told you before let you think otherwise. There's so many times where students are like, I heard this was going to be impossible, but this had ended up being my favorite class, as it should be. We're kinesiology makers. Human movement is what we do. And all I'm asking is understand that we played fast and loose with verbiage our whole lives, and that has to end this semester. We have to be on the same page. We can't call a cat, and my people from Bohemian Parish call it a menu. All right? We have to all call it something and be on the same page of what we're going to call it. Does that make sense? Any questions? Okay, does everybody understand that the hybrid is, I'm not taking roll. I personally think it's better if you do come to class. It'll show up in your grade because you can ask questions. I can see your feedback. You can get up and move. But every class is going to be streamed on my YouTube channel, just in case. Even for reference when you go back and study. Cool? So we're going to have class every day, but it's also going to be available for you to rewatch. All right, guys? All right, man. Y'all have a good day. Let's have a great semester. Thank you, sir.
Of course. Do you want me to leave my phone number anywhere?
Yes, I just forgot. That's a great idea. You know what we can do, since today was so much